One in three college students transfers colleges. It's common, and it really boils down to fit. If college feels off for you, this episode is for you. It's a two-parter. Jaime Smith will join us to give her expert overarching view on college transfer, and then Zoë Barley, who recently lived the transfer experience and is a delight to talk with, will tell us her story. Let's jump in.
It's the College Talk Show. Today's theme, transferring colleges, with special guest Jaime Smith and Zoë Barley. And now, here's your host, Chris Bell.
Tonight's first guest is a leading expert on college transfer, and she literally wrote the book on it. Jaime Smith has helped all kinds of students make smart, successful moves between colleges. Her book, The Complete Guide to College Transfer, is a must-read if you're even thinking about switching schools. I am thrilled she's here. Jaime Smith, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
Oh, this is great. Let's get right into it. You literally wrote the book on transfer. What inspired you to write The Complete Guide to College Transfer, and what kind of student were you writing it for?
Yeah, well, I tried to make it suit everybody, which was quite a feat, but I was really inspired to write it because there aren't a lot of resources out there. And, every time you walk into a bookstore, you can see a whole wall of books helping first-year students gain admission, but there's almost nothing for transfer. So I was really inspired to share some of the wisdom that I've accrued over the last 10 or so years working with transfer students, and help them navigate this process that's actually pretty tricky and can vary a lot depending on the kind of transfer you're trying to make.
Great point. Yeah, it is. I learned a lot from reading your book already, and it's going to be a great resource. One question, how common is transfer really? A lot of students think it's unusual, but it's more normal than they realize. Is that right?
About a third of all undergraduates transfer at least once, and of those, about half transfer again. So it is a really common process. And of that 30% or so that transfer, it's split 50-50 between, intentional transfers who've gone to a community college with this plan to go to a four-year, and then the more spontaneous transfers who have maybe got to a four-year, decided it's not the right place for them, and are looking to make a change.
So you got into this a little bit, but why do students transfer? What are some of the most common reasons you've seen in your work?
Yes, so many different reasons. Of course, it's easy if they're at a community college. Transfer is the only way to get a bachelor's degree. I also see students who have maybe, struggled with some learning disabilities or, had some accommodations in high school. And when they get to college, they either don't request those same accommodations, they're not sure how to navigate the system. And they're trying to do college without the supports they've grown used to and struggle. And we also see a lot of just, social challenges, things where a student just feels like they don't really fit in with the culture.
For the students starting at community college, what's the most important thing that they should know up front about planning to transfer later on?
It is really thinking ahead about the classes you're taking, the target university you want to attend. There are some very specific classes that universities want to see, a couple of intro to composition classes, usually a math class, some gen eds, but they might be pretty specific classes that are aligned with the universities nearby. So you definitely want to look at those articulation agreements, those contracts with the nearby universities that say, if you take these classes, XYZ, you will fulfill your gen ed requirements at our university. And that makes you a strong candidate for transfer.
Do grades from your current college matter most, or do admissions offices still care about your high school record too?
It depends. The grades from your current college are usually the most important. But if you're a low unit transfer, if you're trying to transfer like during your freshman year, you're applying, then your high school grades are probably still going to matter. And that's something for students to think about if they were maybe not stellar high school students, if their academic interests and goals didn't really click in until the end of high school. They might want to consider taking a full 2 years at a community college before trying to transfer so that they can really establish themselves as strong students before trying to apply.
Got it. Yeah, right, sure. And then who should write your letters of rec when you transfer? Is it college professors, or can you reach back to high school teachers?
You should really be looking at the college professors.
What about money? Are there scholarships, merit aid, or good financial aid options for transfer students?
There are. It's a myth that transfers can't get merit scholarships. To be fair, the merit scholarships are usually lower, smaller amounts than you might see for first years, but they are out there. There are a lot of universities that are trying to court transfer students now. Need-based aid, very similar most of the time. Most schools, if they offer need-based aid, they're going to offer it to both first year and transfer, but that's not 100% true. So always read the fine print. And actually, while we're talking about fine print, I want to alert people that, those net price calculators on every college website,
Yes.
they are only accurate for first year much of the time. The federal law that requires those only requires it for first year students. So transfer students have to read those calculators carefully to find out if those estimates will apply to them, because often they won't.
When we're thinking about transfers, what's the biggest mistake you see students make when planning to transfer? And what's the one thing you hope readers take away from your book?
Planning. When planning, do the planning.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not something that you can just, wake up one day and decide you're going to transfer and think it's all going to be okay. You really need to look ahead, look at all those agreements, look at tools like Transferology or, Google transfer equivalency database at the name of a target university, and see what classes from your school have previously transferred there so that you can sort of have an idea of what's going to transfer, because you really just can't assume that it's all going to be okay. You have to do that planning and make sure that you're checking the boxes.
One thing that I've been surprised at is that even the deadlines for applications are quite variable. Is that your experience
Yes.
as well? Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen everything from, November the year before you want to transfer, the fall before,
Wow.
to like July,
Yeah.
just before classes would start.
Your book is so good. It has this rich information that you deliver directly, and then you sprinkle in these case studies of students throughout, which really gives it heart. After the break, Zoë Barley will be joining me to tell her story. She transferred from Chapman to CU Boulder and then to Stanford. Is it common for students to get into highly selective colleges as transfers?
A lot of my answers about transfer are, it depends.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Absolutely.
And this is another one, She's extraordinary. Stanford is very selective with transfer students, but you might be surprised at how many highly selective universities accept a large number of transfer students. This is actually a resource I have on my website at transfersavvy.com. I have a spreadsheet there of 400 or so universities and their transfer admission rates compared to their first year admission rates. And you might be really surprised to find that some of those highly selectives either have equivalent acceptance rates or actually have some higher acceptance rates for transfers. Ultimately, if you're a stellar student, you can apply for transfer to just about any university in America. They all accept some number of transfers.
You mentioned transfersavvy.com. We'll include a link to that in the description. And then for your book, I'll include a link to the Amazon link. But how else can people find your book to purchase if they want to find it?
You can Google The Complete Guide to College Transfer. It's the only one out there, so you'll find it. And there is also a link on my website at transfersavvy.com.
This conversation was amazing, Jaime. Thank you for joining us tonight, and thank you for writing such a helpful guide to the transfer process.
Thank you. I hope it helps a lot of students out there.
When we come back, we'll be joined by Zoë Barley talking about her ultimate transfer story. Stick around.
This episode is brought to you by Bell College Consulting. Visit bellcollegeconsulting.com to learn more.
Well, here we are. I'm so happy to have my guest, Zoë Barley, here. Zoë has the ultimate transfer story, and I'm looking forward to hearing all about it. Zoë, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Chris. Really excited to be here.
Oh, my pleasure. So I told the audience that you have the ultimate transfer story.
Yeah.
Will you tell me about that? Tell me your story.
Basically, in high school, I was a competitive dancer, and I had been dancing my whole life. I loved it, and
Mm-hmm.
I loved a lot of other things too, but I never had really been told that I was good at something else, and I'd been told I was good at dance.
Yeah.
So because of that, I decided to pursue dance professionally after high school.
Mm-hmm.
And one way to do so is by attending, they're called conservatory-style dance programs.
Mm-hmm.
And a great one that I really love is Chapman University. My first year was really hard. I don't think I anticipated how homesick I was going to be. And simultaneously, the program was really, really intensively focused on dance in a way that I wasn't able to explore my other passions the way that I wanted to.
Yeah, right.
I didn't feel like I found a great community, and I ended up having a pretty intense mental health challenge related to eating disorders.
Oh, got it.
And
right.
so the summer after my freshman year, I returned home, and my parents very lovingly were like, we don't think that you should go back. I felt really grateful to be in a college town. I'm from Boulder, Colorado originally, and so I decided to enroll in some continuing education classes at CU Boulder. I took a Spanish class and an introductory to psychology course were the two courses that I ended up taking.
Did you have to do an application process for that, or was
I
it?
did, but it was really short. Because it was continuing ed, it's really designed for students who are super part-time. And so because of that, it was a pretty simple application process, which was nice.
Yep.
So I started class at CU, and then the following semester, I felt ready to return to school full-time. But I didn't feel ready to move away from home yet. So I was like, all right, CU's going well. I'm going to continue there.
Got it.
So I enrolled in classes full-time at CU Boulder, and that's when I completed my first transfer application. So I was excited to get in and ready to dive back into my full-time education.
Right.
And then the COVID-19 pandemic hit. And after about 6 weeks of being on campus and being so excited to be back in a college environment, all of a sudden I wasn't back in a college environment. And I was on Zoom. And I saw it as an opportunity to go to a school that really made me excited. I think that at CU, it's a great school, and I was really happy to be taking my classes there, but partially because of the nature of Zoom school, and partially because I grew up in Boulder and it kind of feels a little too much like home, I wanted to be challenged more, and I was really ready to go back out on a great adventure.
Right, okay. I love it.
So,
I love this.
I applied to 8 schools to transfer for a second time. I always say the joke, like, I really love filling out the common application, given that I've done it for over 30 schools at this point, but that's fine. So I applied to 7 schools on the East Coast, and then my dad was like, you should submit an application to Stanford. I became clear that I was looking for what I called my trifecta, which was a school that had a psychology program that was really strong, a feminist gender sexuality program that was really strong, and they had a strong enough dance program that they would accept a lot of my credits from Chapman.
Oh, yeah, I get you.
Because a lot of my credits from Chapman were dance credits. So I wanted to be able to have
to get that credit. Sure. Right.
So I ended up submitting that application, and lo and behold, I was accepted. And
unbelievable.
As soon as I was accepted to Stanford, I was like, well, that's where I'm going.
Yeah.
There's no question. So I did my last 2 years of undergraduate there and absolutely loved it. Had an amazing time and finally felt like I got the college experience that I'd been searching for from day one.
What a story. And I'm glad, and it feels like a happy ending.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a really happy ending.
I just said that the deadlines are all different. Everything's different from school to school. Did you experience that?
Yes. So those deadlines are a little bit different from school to school. Generally, it's later, but you really have to be on it in terms of, I'm someone who loves a spreadsheet, so I really had the spreadsheet of like, okay, this is when this application opens, here's when it closes, yada, 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 so that I could keep track of all those different deadlines.
When you were at Chapman, how were you able to figure out difference between like a temporary rough patch, I don't like this professor, versus like, I got to get out of here kind of thing?
There was so much there that I really liked. I was in the honors program, and that was a really rich, engaging program. It's one of the best programs I've ever been a part of. I loved the Chapman honors program. I made a few close friends in the dance community. I was really starting to get involved in a number of different clubs on campus, and I loved that honors program. And if you will, I'd given it the college try. I think that those first few weeks and months, I would remember calling home and being like very upset and being like, this just isn't working for me. And instead of feeling like things were getting easier, I just felt like everything was getting harder.
So it sounds to me, so I think of good choices around transferring as possibly either getting out of a situation that's not working for you.
Yep.
Or going towards something that you just got to go for.
Yes.
Or both, I suppose. And it sounds like maybe that first transfer was kind of getting out of something. Is that right? Yeah. But then the
second transfer was definitely more of a pull transfer.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because that's how the application is laid out. That essay, they want you to talk about your push and your pull factors. For each of the 8 schools that I applied to the second time around, I couldn't just reuse that same essay. Like with your Common App sort of statement, you submit that to all of the schools.
Absolutely.
But with this push-pull essay, the pull has to be really specific towards the school that you're applying to.
Got it. What did you gain from your transfer experience?
So I think in the immediate sense, I gained the college experience I'd always dreamed of, which
that's
was
amazing.
Great.
Yeah.
And then in the long-term sense, I think I've gained the concept that like blowing it all up and trying something new often leads to a better result than just trying to dredge through something that you can tell isn't going well. The willingness to make a radical change is really important and worthwhile.
Well, Zoe, I am so happy for you. I'm glad you had a great experience. And I am grateful that you came to share it with us, with me, and with everyone here. So thank you for your time.
Yeah, such a delight. I really appreciate it, Chris.
You bet. We'll be right back after this. This is the part of the show where I'll highlight the key takeaways regarding college transfer. It's sort of a summary. I call it Top Tips.
Top tips. Top tips. Kind of a summary, but we call it Top Tips. Top tips.
Here we go. Top tips related to college transfer. Number 5. Some reasons people transfer. Maybe it was planned all along. Maybe it's not working in its current form at your current college. Maybe it has to do with social fit. Number 4, the current college, the one that you're attending before you transfer, that experience matters. You need to pay attention to your grades in your first college. You need to make connections with professors in your first college because they're the ones who are going to be writing letters of rec. Number 3, think ahead regarding your current classes. The grades from the college are considered most when you're transferring. If your high school record wasn't perfect, maybe you should establish 2 years of grades in college before trying to transfer. Also, related to colleges, take classes that are easily transferable. Intro to composition, math, general ed requirements, those sorts of things almost always transfer. Number 2, applications and requirements vary. The transfer application dates vary significantly between college. The best source for knowing what the deadlines are and the requirements are the college's website. You're going to have to do some digging. The application essay is almost always about the push out of the school you're leaving and the pull into the college that you're trying to get to. And your number 1 tip for college transfer admissions is sometimes shaking things up is the best way to move forward. There you have it. That's the College Transfer Show. Thank you very much to Jaime Smith and Zoë Barley for their expertise and warmth on this topic. And remember, even if you have to transfer at first, college is awesome.